The moment Yin stepped into Noah's room, chaos met her like a crashing wave. "Noah," I said now. Her voice echoed harshly through the hall. The little boy sprinted across the room in tiny, frantic steps, a flurry of brown curls and trembling fear, ducking behind Yin's legs as soon as he saw her. Clutching the fabric of her scrubs tightly in both fists, his little body shook, pressing himself into her, desperate for safety. "What's going on?" Like usual, he won't take a bath, because Jungkook isn't here, she snapped, storming over. "He's been like this always." Yin instinctively shielded Noah with her hand, stepping in front of him as if her body alone could protect him from the scolding tone that made the boy flinch. Hannah's eyes narrowed, her jaw tight. "Can you step aside? He's being ridiculous, and I need to get him ready," Noah whimpered behind Yin's leg, shaking his head violently, his grip tightening. Yin looked down at him, feeling her heart twist seeing the scared face of Noah. "Shouting at him won't help," she said firmly, keeping her tone even. "You're scaring him, Hannah." Hannah's lips curled. "You stay out of this. I've done this for years when Jungkook wasn't around. Don't tell me how to handle my nephew." "I'm not telling you how to handle," she said, voice calm but steely. "I'm just telling you this approach isn't right, not now." "Oh, of course," she sneered. "Because you're so perfect, right? You act like you know everything and even own this place. I see through you, Yin. Don't play innocent." Yin's eyes narrowed at the sudden attack. "You don't know me for throwing those words. I'm here for Noah's care, not for anyone's approval or to own anything. Like I can't see how you try to control everything around him. Remember, you're just his doctor. Don't try to become his mother." That line hit hard, and Y gave a dry chuckle, shaking her head. Her professionalism flickered for a moment, replaced with fire. She looked Hannah dead in the eye. "You're just his aunt," she replied coldly. "Then don't try to be his mother either." Hannah's face contoured in anger upon Yin's reply as her hand flew up in fury, but Yin caught her wrist in midair with a grip that stunned the woman. "I'm here for Noah," she said lowly, her voice calm but like steel, "because I care. But don't mistake my patience for submission." Her grip tightened slightly before she jerked Hannah's hand away. "Noah is here, Hannah. He sees everything. And I don't think Jungkook would appreciate knowing how you care for his son when he's gone, would he?" Hannah's eyes burned, but her hand dropped. She stepped back with a hissed breath, then stormed out of the room, muttering curses under her breath. The silence that followed was heavy until Yin let out a slow exhale. Her gaze dropped to Noah, whose tear-filled eyes looked up at her with a mixture of gratitude and sadness. She knelt, her hand gently ruffling through his curls. "Oh baby," she whispered, brushing away a tear. "You okay?" Noah nodded, sniffling, pressing his cheek to her shoulder. "Hannah, Imo, scary," he stammered in his broken speech, clutching tighter. Yin's chest ached at the fear in his voice. "I know, sweetheart. I'm here now, okay? Imo, no, Peppa Pig," he mumbled, his small voice trembling. "I'm scary, no bath." Yin smiled softly, cupping his chubby cheeks at his complaints. "Why don't you want to take a bath, Peppa Pig? Go away if I bath now." Yin understood that he was referring to his favorite cartoon show. She gasped dramatically. "Oh no, that's a big problem." Noah stared at her, wide-eyed, like finally someone understood his struggles. She tapped her chin. "How about we record it, and after your bath, we can watch it together." His eyes sparkled with curiosity as he thought for a bit, making the cute pout. "I'll prepare you chocolate pancakes," she added, tapping his nose playfully. Noah's face lit up, lips parting into a smile. "Pancake, Peppa, yes." Yin laughed gently, pulling him into a warm hug. "All right then, deal. Let's go, my little pancake monster." The morning had been surprisingly calm after the storm that was Hannah. Noah had bathed eventually with the promise of Peppa Pig and chocolate pancakes breakfast. Now, he sat curled on the living room couch with his knees pulled up, scribbling diligently in his workbook, a slight frown of concentration on his small face. Yin leaned against the kitchen doorway, her phone pressed between her ear and shoulder as she caught up with Mina. "God, I've had 4 back-to-back cases," she sighed dramatically through the speaker. "I'm drained. I'm emotionally bankrupt. I'm going to inhale lunch now." Yin chuckled softly. "Gosh, I miss being at work." "You are at work though," she replied with a teasing tone. Didn't you sign that full-time live-in doctor contract with Mr. Enigma? Live-in doctor contract with Mr. Enigma, seriously? You can't find better words to describe my situation. My head throbs, she's saying, massaging her temples. Should we swap souls? I'm sure working with one patient isn't that tiring, going on many calls. Yin rolled her eyes lazily. Oh, it's tiring in a way I can't describe. I miss my actual workplace, Mina. I miss the chaos, the smell of antiseptic, my cabin, and dealing with the kids always kept me busy. Is Noah giving you trouble already? She teased again. Yin's eyes drifted to the living room, and her lips parted into a tender smile. Noah was quiet, head bowed, tongue slightly sticking out as he focused hard on his handwriting. No, not at all, she said, voice softening. He's really obedient, always listens to me. It gets tough sometimes, but he's a sweet kid. Honestly, he is not like what it looks like to be stubborn and spoiled. Noah just needs love and care, she said, getting quiet at the end. There was a pause before Mina chuckled through the line. Why do I feel like you stole my plan? Win the son to reach the father, huh? Oh, shut up, she groaned, throwing a dishcloth at nothing, but there was no bite in her tone. It was automatic, familiar. Yet Mina's offhand joke hit a hidden bruise. At the mention of Jungkook, her mind flickered to Jimin's quiet words days ago. Jungkook isn't Noah's real father, he's his uncle, taking care of his elder brother's kid. At first, Yin hadn't believed it. It hadn't made sense. For years, she thought Jungkook had moved on, found someone else, built a family without her. That idea had fueled her rage, helped her tolerate him when he reappeared in her life with a child. But knowing the truth, that he'd been raising his nephew alone all this time, the anger had started to unravel, not fully, but it left something else behind. Confusion, guilt, frustration. Why didn't he tell me? Why did he leave like that? What else is he hiding? Yin, she voice broke her reverie. Are you still alive? Huh? She blinked. Yeah, sorry. Just dealing with people here is frying my brain. Oh, the infamous auntie, she asked, amused. Yin groaned. Don't remind me of her, just dealt this morning. They both chuckled. I miss you guys, she said with a sigh, even the old dorm. That's heartwarming, she replied dramatically, coming from the woman who used to yell at me for taking too long in the bathroom. That was out of affection, she shot back. You're my bestie, it's a love language. I never thought I'd hear you say those words. I guess distance does make the heart grow fonder. Maybe it's true. Oh, by the way, she added mischievously, guess who came back and was asking about you? Yin narrowed her eyes. Who? Mina laughed. Who do you think? The bubblegum. Yin groaned again. Bogum. Why can't you say his name right? Maybe because it matches with bubblegum, or because he's too sweet for my liking. Always sticks to you whenever you are around and looks like a lovesick puppy every time you walk into a room. I can't take it seriously. Yin shook her head, smiling. He's just a good friend, helpful even sometimes, but I'm not, you know. Yeah, not want to be in relationships, got it. Their banter was cut short when a tiny tug came to Yin's shirt. She looked down to see Noah standing beside her, holding onto her with those wide, expectant eyes. 1 minute, Mina, she said, lowering the phone and crouching to his level. What's up, baby? Noah pointed proudly at his workbook. Done. Really? She asked with an encouraging smile. He nodded eagerly. She raised her phone. I'll call you later, Mina. Go on, supermom, she teased. I'm cheering on you. Yeah, this is the reason Yin shout at her sometimes, but nonetheless she rolled her eyes and ended the call, letting Noah take her hand as he led her to the table. He proudly showed her the pages of his work, neatly done. Yin leaned over to check each answer she taught him earlier. You did all this? She asked softly. He nodded again, a bashful grin forming on his face. Yin smiled as she high-fived Noah, admiring the way his little fingers squeezed hers in pride. You did so good, love, she said gently. You finished your homework all by yourself. Noah nodded, but the corners of his lips stayed downward, a pout tugging at his face. His eyes dropped to the table. What's with this face now? She asked, tilting her head curiously. You should be happy, baby. You did your work all by yourself. I finish. No more. Nothing do, he muttered, syllables slow and broken, voice barely above a whisper. bore, can't go out. Yin's heart sank at the quiet sadness in his voice. It hit her like a punch. He had spent over a month inside, restricted by due to his condition and the fragile safety of indoors. No playground, no running around, no other children, just walls and adult voices. He should be playing, not sitting here all day, but he can't because of his condition. She squatted down beside him and gently cupped his cheek. I'm sorry, baby, that is boring, isn't it? Noah nodded, bottom lip jutting out slightly, but suddenly a spark of mischief lit her eyes. Wait, I have an idea. Noah blinked at her innocently. Let's play a game. A game? He asked, hopeful yet hesitant. Yup, how about hide and seek? Noah pouted again. Just us, boring. Yin winked, tapping the tip of his nose. Who said it's just us? The household staff and bodyguards stood in a neat line, shoulders square, eyes down, nervous energy buzzing through them. The one of bodyguards finally spoke, concern etched in his features. Ma'am, you called us. Is something wrong? Yin folded her arms, grinning slyly. There's no problem. In fact, you're all officially relieved from duty today. Everyone exchanged baffled glances. Did we do something wrong? One of the maids asked anxiously. Please forgive us if. Yin cut her off gently, holding up a hand. No, you've all been doing amazing work. I just thought, it's time you all play. Play? A voice echoed in disbelief. Noah bounced beside her, clapping his little hands excitedly. Play? Their stunned expressions barely had time to settle before. What's going on here? Her sharp voice sliced through the room like ice, interrupting the cheerful tension. She strolled in, arms stretching in a yawn, her hair slightly tousled from her afternoon nap. Why is everyone standing around like this? She asked coldly, eyeing all the bodyguards and staff. What is this circus? Before anyone could answer, Yin stepped forward. I called them. Hannah's brows lifted. What for? To play hide and seek with Noah, she said simply. Hannah scoffed. You're disturbing the work of bodyguards and staff for your mere entertainment? Yin kept her tone light, but the message in her words was clear. Oh, don't worry, Hannah, it's just for a few minutes. They'll catch up to their work later. For now, they're with me. Hannah shook her head scoffing. Eyes scanned the room and suddenly landed on Bianca. Bianca, you're already here. Go make my coffee. Strong. Bianca turned, nodding. But Yin's voice rang out again, stopping her. Bianca, stay. No one's going anywhere. Bianca froze, turning uncertainly between the two women. Yin smiled coolly and turned to Hannah. Why don't you make your coffee today, Hannah? They're busy. With me, I relieve them from their work for an hour. You're serious? She hissed, brows knitting. Who are you calling all the bodyguards and staff to play rubbish games with you and expecting me to? Just for a few minutes, Hannah. This place is so big, the more people, the more fun. Even you can join us too. She out of courtesy, even though she believes Hannah don't deserve it, but she isn't like her, so she asked her to join them too. I don't have time for your stupid childish games, she replied irritated. And Yin shrugged like she doesn't care much either. She already knew the answer though. Please, Emo, he mumbled softly. Let them play. Caught off guard by Noah's soft voice, and even more so by her instinct to not look like the villain, Hannah cleared her throat and stiffened. Do hell with you all. I'll make my coffee myself. She turned on her heel, disappearing toward the kitchen, shaking her head. The moment she left the room, the tension snapped like a string. The bodyguards and staff relaxed visibly, shoulders dropping, eyes flickering toward Yin with hesitant relief. Yin clapped her hands. All right, team, are you ready? Are you ready? He repeated after her, throwing his hands in the air joyfully. A few maids chuckled, exchanging sheepish looks. But ma'am, if Hannah ma'am complained, don't worry about her. She waved her hand. You guys work all the time. Today, for just 1 hour, you are required to be kids again. You won't disobey your little master, right, Noah? She turned towards Noah and he nodded eagerly, excited. They giggled nervously, unsure, but the twinkle in Noah's eye was enough to start melting their formality. Okay, she said brightly, turning in a circle, looking at them all. Now, who's going to count? Noah's high-pitched voice echoed through the hallway, counting as best as he could. 1, 2, 3, 7, 10. Laughter erupted down the corridor as all scrambled to find hiding spots, one even tucked behind a curtain, Another crouched behind the large potted plant in the hallway. Yin giggled, tiptoeing past the stairwell, seeking her own place to hide. But then she froze when she heard Noah's triumphant voice shout, "Got you!" followed by the sound of a surprised yelp from a bodyguard. Shoot, she thought, he's getting closer. Panicking, Yin slipped quietly into a nearby room. Her steps light, her breath held. She heard Noah's voice fading again as he ran in the opposite direction of the room she was searching for her. Relief washed over her for a moment. "I almost got caught," she whispered, but then, her ears perked. She heard those footsteps sound of someone's shoes, too heavy for Noah. She pressed her ear against the door to see who it was. Heart racing, a familiar voice rumbled outside. "What's going on here?" came Jungkook's deep, curious tone. Her heart stopped. A bodyguard replied, too muffled to make out, but the voice was trembling. "Why is he back so early?" Panic gripped her when she heard those footsteps growing closer towards where she was. Her eyes darted wildly across the room under the bed. No, too exposed, behind the drapes, too obvious, the bathroom. What if he uses it? Think Yin, think there's no time. She started to panic as the steps now stopped outside the gate. She immediately spotted the large wooden wardrobe. "Please God save me." She dashed inside and pulled the doors shut behind her just as the doorknob turned. The room filled with footsteps, her breath hitched. It was pitch black, save for the carved wooden design that allowed a few slivers of light to spill in through them. She watched Jungkook stride across the room neatly dressed in his business attire, his voice casual as he spoke into his phone. Oh my God! She didn't even realize she entered to his room in urgency, but her mind screamed when she saw him removing his coat tie, looking a bit tired. But Yin clasped her hand over her mouth when she saw him begin unbuttoning his shirt. Panic spiked. "What? Why now?" She snapped her head away, face burning as red as the cabinet's polished wood, and covering her mouth doesn't help either. She felt out of breath. "God, I can't die like this, in a wardrobe, while he's..." His footsteps grew closer, her chest heaved with anxious breaths. He stood just inches from the cupboard. She squeezed her eyes shut. "Please not now." Just then, "Appa," came Noah's excited voice. Yin heard the sweetest sound in the world, Jungkook's low laugh. "Hey," he spoke like his all-fatigued tiredness from earlier vanished. "You came early, of course. I knew you were missing me." Through the carved design, Yin peeked and saw Noah jump into Jungkook's arms. Her chest softened at the sight. "Appa, you know, I ate Choco Pancake and watched Peppa Pig, and then I did homework," he proudly said. Jungkook chuckled. "Really, you did all that? I thought you might be missing me. You had fun. That's great." "No, I missed you, but I had fun too with Mama," he beamed. Yin bit her lip. Her heart warmed but also felt heavier. Jungkook lifted a brow. "So you've been good for Yin, hum?" "Yes," he said instantly. "Wow," he laughed again, impressed. This might be first time he saw Noah not causing much trouble when he isn't around. Or Noah grown up and big baby now. Noah nodded, beaming wide as he explained further. "Mama and others played with me. We were playing hide and seek." Yin winced softly inside the cupboard. "Why does playing hide and seek sound so silly now? I couldn't find Mama. You saw her?" Jungkook laughed a little at information but lowered Noah, ruffling his hair. "No baby, I didn't. But let me change and I'll join to find her." Okay. He cheered and ran out. Yin peeked again, hoping Jungkook would just walk away too. Instead, he walked to take his shirt, picked it up hastily, dressing up, and said loudly, "You can come out of that place now. It must be suffocating in there." Yin froze.
Whom he talking to? Was it me or he is on another call? She peeked through and saw him sitting on the edge of the bed calmly, his phone kept aside at the table.
Jungkook again added, calmly, "Yin, I know you're in the wardrobe. Come out." Her heart dropped, her face burned. "So he knows I'm here, but how? I didn't even make any noise." "I'm sure you won't like if I open the..." Then right there Yin stepped out of the wardrobe, a little breathless, head ducked in pure embarrassment, not making any eye contact with him. Hate to see the smile dancing on his face. He raised a brow, his lips curling into a half smirk. "You made my trained bodyguards play this childish game, amusement danced in his voice, not anger. She met his gaze, unfazed, and narrowed her eyes. So what? They all look like emotionless, like robots playing a childish game won't bruise their egos, unless one of them has won. Jungkook chuckled, shaking his head as he tried to contain a smile. No, not at all, he said smoothly, choosing not to take the jab personally though he knew exactly whose ego she was poking at. By the way, how did you know I was there? She asked, folding her arms, trying to mask her embarrassment with anger. Jungkook smiled sly. I didn't know you were in there, until I saw a piece of cloth sticking out. At first, I thought someone broke in, then Noah mentioned about game and you, and I put two and two together. Her breath hitched, silence fell between them. He stood slowly, eyes meeting hers. His expression wasn't cold, not like before, it was conflicted, raw, human. I wanted to tell you thank you, he said quietly. She blinked, and sorry. He didn't let go of her hand, his gaze dropping to where their skin touched. He didn't speak, just held her wrist softly, gaze unreadable, standing in front of her. No arrogance, no cold businessman mask, just Jungkook. Thank you for taking care of Noah. You've done more for him than I could have even asked you for these past months. You understand his emotions better than I could, and now I understand why he easily listens to you because you know how to deal with him. Yin's breath caught. She watched as his expression faltered, his voice grew deeper. And, I'm sorry, for everything. His grip on her wrist didn't loosen. For shouting at you during parking lot. The moment he burst was when she called him rich and entitled, and it just hit his sour spot at that time, which he despised the most, to be called for forcing you into this stupid contract, for not explaining, and he paused, exhaling as if speaking become harder. On the other hand, her eyes, still wide from the awkwardness of being caught, now held a confused tension. Her lips parted slightly, as if she too wasn't sure what would happen next. Jungkook looked at her face, and everything he wanted to say vanished from his mind. He had thought of many things to tell her, thought about every word, every sentence, but now, standing in front of her while she looked at him, like that with those quiet, unreadable eyes, his mouth stayed shut, his chest ached, but all he could do was stare. It's all Jimin's fault. He was the one who brought all this back. He was the one who made Jungkook believe just for a second that maybe he should talk to her, that maybe it wasn't too late. You said she doesn't want any relationship with you, but why do I feel that's not true, Jungkook? Jungkook, where is this coming from? I thought we agreed not to talk about this again. His voice was cold, confused. Why was Jimin suddenly bringing Yin up? I don't know, maybe you know better, he replied calmly, almost testing Jungkook's patience. Jimin, he warned, his tone sharp, we signed a professional contract, this shouldn't even be. Yeah, I know about the contract, but contracts don't erase feelings, do they? He watched Jungkook closely. Jungkook didn't answer as usual, so Jimin kept going. I see how you both walk around like strangers, like you're scared to even breathe near each other, and you, he sighed. I don't think your feelings for her will ever disappear, but I also think you'll never have the courage to tell her. It's not like I don't want to, his voice cracked slightly, it's just she doesn't feel the same, not anymore, and… He closed his eyes for a second, breathing heavily. Every day in that house with her felt like torture, pretending everything was normal, when all he wanted was to tell her the truth, to confess how much he still loved her, to hold her, to apologize for whatever is happening, but she always maintains a distance with him, like she doesn't want him around, made impossible for him to even talk to her. I don't want to drag her into my mess again. She's moved on, she's happy, and I have Noah. This business, after this contract ends, I'll tell Noah the truth that Yin isn't his mother. So you're going to break Noah's heart too? After all this time, after how close Yin and Champ has become? I can't hide the truth for so long from Noah and Yin. I also don't want to force her into this anymore. I can see the frustration on her face that she doesn't want to be around me. I'm just forcing her because Noah thinks she's his mother. It's wrong. Let's just done with this topic. His voice starts to waver. I also thought we were done and believed on you that she moved on and don't have feelings for you. But recently when I talked to Yin, and I realized that she doesn't even know Noah isn't your real son. Jungkook's head snapped up. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think the only reason she is keeping her distance from you is because of Noah. Because she thinks you only chose her for him, that you don't have feelings for her but now wanted to use her, and the anger justified. If you remember, you told her you don't love her. I never said her that I don't love her, he said quickly, his voice low with pain. I told her that I can't at that time. His heart squeezed as he remembered. Yin had stood in front of him, crying, pouring her heart out, and he just broke her heart even further. But he could do? He wasn't in his right mind. In span of 24 hours he had lost everything: his father, his brother, his sister-in-law all at once. He hadn't even had time to grieve when the nurse placed a tiny Noah into his arms, who barely survived the intense accident. How could he think of love back then? How could he give Yin the love she deserved when he didn't even know how to breathe without breaking? She was the kindest soul he ever met, and he couldn't bear the thought of dragging her into his shattered world. Broken people break others, and she didn't deserve that. Though he never said it aloud, he knew he had broken her heart, even if it was unintentional. But back then, all he could see were the responsibilities his father and brother had left behind: a child to raise, a crumbling empire to rebuild. Everyone praised how well he managed both, but only he knew the truth: how brutally hard it had been, how many nights he cried alone, choking on silence, because it all felt too heavy for one person to carry. Yet every morning, he wore that brave mask again, faced the world, took every hit life threw at him without flinching. The board of directors looked at him like he was just a shadow of his father, doubting if he could ever live up to the name. But now they don't dare make a single decision without his voice in the room. He built that respect, brick by painful brick, with little Noah holding his hand through the storm. And in the process, he learned to wear a colder mask, one that didn't crack at insults or doubt. He buried the cheerful boy he once was, forcing himself to become the cold, calculating man. The world needed the man who could uphold his family's legacy. But beneath that armor, he was just tired, bone deep tired, yet stopping wasn't an option. He had paid a cruel price, leaving behind perhaps the only person who had ever truly loved him, Yin. All he had of her now was one picture, and whenever the weight of the world became too much, he looked at it, at her smile. That smile, it never failed to bring one to his own lips. Even in the darkest of days, she had become his secret anchor, even from afar. He never reached out, never disturbed her peace. He only prayed, in the quiet of the night, that she had moved on, that she was happy. It shattered him every time his fingers brushed the photo, but the past was a closed door, and the present demanded his strength. So he did what he had to, and kept walking. Didn't know that past he left behind will stand in front of him again asking answers, and he felt too overwhelmed to even bear her presence. That hatred mask Yin wore in front of him, maybe he deserves it. What if, that day, instead of hiding behind silence, you had just told her the truth? He brought Jungkook out of his thoughts. That question haunted him. What if that day, instead of lying to her, you told her the truth? What if you told her about your feelings? What if? And now, standing in front of her again, she was just a few feet away, but he felt miles apart, and he still didn't know how to tell her everything his heart had been screaming for years. I know you hate me, maybe you should, I deserve it, I just want you to know I didn't mean to hurt you. His heart felt like it would split open, because even after all this time, even after years of pretending, of trying to forget her, he still looked at her like he used to, like she was everything. Yin, I wanted to tell, his voice cracked, trembling with the weight of everything he'd held back for so long. Yin froze, wide eyes locking with his, her heart pounded, breath caught in her throat. Whatever he was about to say, it felt too big, too raw, and she wasn't sure she was ready to hear it. But just then, a small voice broke the moment. Noah caught you, Mama, he giggled, clinging to Yin's leg. The tension between them shattered like a brittle glass, pulling them apart in opposite directions. Jungkook stood frozen, helpless, words choking and dying on his lips. Yin still hesitated but bent down and lifted Noah, her smile soft but shaky. She didn't look at Jungkook right away, couldn't, not when her mind was still echoing with what he almost said. Jungkook's gaze stayed fixed on her, his heart thudding painfully in his chest. Why did you lie to me, Appa? You said you didn't know where Mama was, but she was with you. Jungkook gave a dry chuckle, masking the ache in his voice. I was about to tell you, but you came. Yin glanced at him then, something flickering in her eyes, uncertainty, maybe a question, but it faded as she looked back at Noah. Mama, I'm sleepy, he mumbled, yawning, head resting on Yin's shoulders. Jungkook gently ran his hand through Noah's hair. Tired already, he asked, and Noah just paddled his legs in response, too tired to even speak, and that made him smile. She turned to leave, but paused just long enough for one last look, waiting for Jungkook if he wanted to say something earlier. Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the world held still. But Jungkook just passed her a small smile which quite didn't reach to his eyes. She wasn't sure but still walked away. The soft click of the door leaving Jungkook alone with the silence. He clenched his fist. But once again, he had let the moment slip through his fingers. The restaurant's soft lighting danced against glasses and laughter, the warm buzz of celebration spreading across the long table where doctors from Yin's department had gathered to honor a senior's promotion. Yin sat beside Mina in a quieter corner, a half-empty bottle of soju in front of her, cheeks slightly flushed, her fingers idly tracing the rim of her shot glass. Mina scoffed, eyeing her best friend. On the phone, you were all, I miss you guys so much, and I'm lonely without the team, she mocked with an exaggerated whine. And now you're drowning yourself in soju like a heartbroken rom-com heroine. Yin blinked slowly, her smile wobbly. I did come here because I missed you guys, she muttered, taking another shot. Yeah, then talk to me instead of talking to Mr. Green Bottle. Yin didn't respond. She stared down into the glass, lips tight. Mina leaned closer, dropping the teasing. You only drink like this when something's really wrong. Last time was after case, remember, that little girl? Yin flinched, her hand gripped the edge of the table. Don't remind me of it, she muttered coldly, casting a side eye at Mina. Okay, she backed off, raising her hands. But something is up with you. You're not here. You're sitting beside me but somewhere far away. Yin didn't answer, not out loud. Her thoughts drifted back to yesterday. To him, to Jungkook, standing in front of her in that quiet room, saying words she never expected to hear. Thank you, I'm sorry. She'd been bracing herself for coldness, for indifference. That was the Jungkook she had prepared to deal with, the one who looked at her like she was just a hired caretaker for his child. But when he spoke with that sincerity, when he held her wrist like he didn't want to let go, it shook her. He was going to say more, she knew he was, but then Noah had burst in, breaking the moment, and now she was left swimming in what was he going to say? Why now? Why was he trying to be kind again? She had told herself there was nothing between them anymore, but pretending he was a stranger, while living under the same roof, was like trying to ignore the sound of a storm by covering your ears. Oh no, her voice pulled Yin back to reality. Here comes the bubblegum, she muttered. Yin blinked, seeking Bogum walking towards their table with a wide grin. She turned immediately, hiding her face, and groaned audibly, slamming her head down onto the table. Not now. Bogum, dressed as impeccably as always, strode over to them with that bright, too sweet smile. Long time no see, he greeted, focused solely on Yin. Are you alright? She slowly lifted her head. I'm okay. I'm okay, she said softly. I just started drinking. It's been long. I touched it. Oh, okay. He smiled. Mind if I sit? I do, she replied sharply. Bogum chuckled. I wasn't asking you, said without even looking at Mina, and promptly took the seat beside Yin, too close to be her liking. And Mina rolled her eyes at him like, yeah, that's why I call him Bubblegum. Yin offered a small, polite smile. Bogum leaned in, tone casual but curious. I heard you've been working from patient home ? VIP patient. YN, something like that, she replied vaguely. Must be exhausting to work 24/7, not even showing your face at the hospital anymore. It's Bogumsi, she replied, only not wanted to sound rude. I told you, just call me Bogum. It's not that formal, she sighed, but before she could steer the conversation away, Mina suddenly stood up from her chair. Where are you going? She asked quickly, panic flickering in her eyes. Getting a drink, alone, she said, leaving Yin helpless with Bogum. Yin smiled awkwardly, fidgeting with seeing Mina walking away. Finally we are alone, so you'll come back to the hospital, right? He asked. I've been asking your bestie for weeks, but she never gives me a straight answer. It's kind of a long-term case, she mumbled, assigned by the department head. There's no exact date yet set. So didn't myself. Bogum kept talking and she just answered in one word, smiling politely, but her attention drifted again, her eyes unfocused as she was uncomfortable in his company, but he was just too occupied by himself to realize her discomfort.
Mama.
She stiffened. That voice Noah's, her eyes darted to the restaurant entrance, heart skipping. No, it couldn't be. But then she saw him, Noah, and her eyes widened. Noah was struggling in Jungkook's arms, calling her name, tiny hands reaching out in the air for her.
Mama, Mama.
Her body jolted at his call. Jungkook was there too, holding him tightly, whispering something to calm the child, his face expressionless again, cold. His jaw was tense, that soft expression from yesterday was gone like it never existed. And behind him was Hannah, dressed elegantly, holding Jungkook's arms like, she doesn't want to say it out loud, but they look like a family. Yin's heart twisted. What were they doing here? Why was Noah even at a place like this? Did she miss something? Bogum's voice cut through. Was that kid calling you mama? He asked with a chuckle. Clueless, Yin didn't answer. Her eyes stayed locked on the trio. Jungkook gently sat Noah down beside him at a table far from hers. He leaned in, whispering something in Noah's ear. The boy nodded slowly, lips trembling, but he sat. Yin's stomach sank. Jungkook's all attention was on Hannah as they were talking about something, and Hannah looks excited for some reason. Why did Jungkook look distant again? Why was Hannah with them, and why did it hurt seeing them like this? Is it because she knew Hannah's feelings for Jungkook, or does it bother us that they were going to get married at some point? But there's something she can't change, right? Hannah and Jungkook know each other more than Jungkook and her even spend time together. It shouldn't bother her, but somehow it does, and she thought she's over Jungkook, but yesterday he was being so soft to her, and now. Yin, someone called from her team. Come on, dinner's starting. Bogum stood too, motioning her to follow with him, but she didn't move. Her eyes were still on Noah, on how he kept glancing over his shoulder, hoping to catch another glimpse of her, and on Jungkook, who didn't even care to look back at her once, keep talking with Hannah.